Well, actually, I was invited to attend by some people at my school who are developing a new leadership program, and they wanted to get me involved because I teach in the English language and literature program, and they want to bring humanities, things like English, into business and management and leadership oriented programming.
Lipman-Blumen. I read her book, and I'm looking at social media, and one of the things that's going on with the digital natives is they're doing a lot of the things Jean talks about without realizing it. They're doing that connective piece and pulling people together and collaborating online, and so it really resonated with me, and I wanted to learn more about it.
It was recommended by one of my clients that I had worked with at UCLA, who I asked her what else she would recommend, and she loved this, and it turns out that through other friends I knew had connections with Jean, so I think that Jean was a really big factor in my wanting to do that, because I think she's such a powerful woman. But I find that have found the whole process and the whole way you've done the whole seminar as being so effective and so efficient, really do it. So it made it a pleasant experience as well as a really intellectual, stimulating one.
Well, I'm very interested in learning about different instruments in this area of leadership development. And sometimes the models, the conceptual ideas are nice, but they will not work if you do not have instrument. Well, Institute of Connective Leadership offers two things: a good concept with a very well developed set of instruments that can be used in assessing leadership styles, in executive coaching, in education, leadership development.
I wanted to understand how I can use connective leadership, the connective leadership model in my own research. But I surprisingly discovered that I can also use it in my new position in terms of reorganizing my new division that I just started working for.
Well, I wanted to come and learn a little bit more about connective leadership. I've taken a class from Jean, and I felt that the model has a lot of merit, and I wanted to bring it into my company to help us work with it.
I was referred as well as a prior student of Jean's, and I thought that it would help my organization further develop its leadership program, because we just finished a 3-year program that was a grounds-up organizational development, and I thought this would be a great launching pad for future development. And now I've learned a ton of other uses for it, which I'm really excited about, and I can't wait to go back and share what I learned.
In addition to learning concepts and learning about instruments, the Institute provides a wonderful opportunity to network, meet with people from different business companies, from different institutions, different sphere of work in society, different sectors.
For me, though, it's really just a fascination with this idea, because we talk a lot about authentic leadership within the program that I teach in and I work with, and that's exactly what we're talking about here, is the idea of authentic leadership. So the two really connect very well.
Jean, about 2 years ago at a conference, and I listened to her talk to the head of a company, and I was so impressed by the things she asked him. Because they weren't the typical things. It wasn't, how did you build the company, what did you do first? It was, how do you bring the people together, and how do you talk about goals, and how do you bring, life to the company? And that just made me want to come back and learn how to do that same thing.
One of the primary reasons was, my boss told me to. So she told me that she's attending a seminar, and if I would like to attend. I just come back from vacation from India, and I read about the seminar, and despite the jet lag and all, I thought, oh, this is wonderful. The content and the possibilities it could bring is amazing.
As the director of an academic program that places great emphasis on leadership, I'm always looking for something new that will take leaders and the practice of leadership to the next step, and this seemed like a very logical choice.
Honestly, I met Jean. I went to a Center for Nonprofit Management, a women's leadership group, and she spoke. And I was so enthralled with her. We reached reached out and said, Jean asked me to invite you, and I'm like, I have to go. I don't know what it's all about, and it's not really my field, but yes, that's why I'm here.
Well, it all started when, as part of a grant, we were looking for speakers and people to come to our campus and help us with our organizational leadership program, and somebody arranged lunch with Jean, and the rest was history, because I just was really fascinated with what she's doing and got involved that way.
Thinking in scholarly ways, and I'm thinking about the kinds of things that I do. I teach heroic literature, talk a lot about the heroic archetype and the value system in heroic stories, which I see really lining up in a lot of ways with the values here. Things like stories where individuals are putting their own interests aside in order to serve some larger purpose. I see that as kind of the central core here. So I'm going to be bringing this kind of discussion about connective leadership and practical matters into our discussions of literary texts. But I also see lots of applications in terms of things like mentoring when I'm talking with students about what they're going to do with their education, what they're going to do with their lives.
The immediate thing I plan to do with Connective Leadership is look at how the assessment tools can be used in accreditation processes. So with my university, the accreditation process is something we're going to be going through the next year. And so I know this will be a real useful assessment tool for that.
Leadership development, leadership training. I do a lot of work in executive coaching with leadership development, and I would like to use this as an adjunct to what we're already using, and to be able to further explore styles and help people understand about leadership.
I'm linking what I have learned during this week to my future work in leadership education and development, and it will be helpful to use the instruments in assessing the students that come and then measuring their progress and their development. It also would be nice to help organizations in organizational leadership by helping the teams realizing their potential, their differences, but also their possibilities, how they could contribute with their unique perspectives, unique abilities or characters or behaviors, how they could interact for common good and be more successful in what they're doing.
Well, the challenges that I have at my new position is getting people more involved in research, and these are people that have a lot of clinical obligations. So I'm planning to use it to figure out how we can identify situations where we can collaborate and work together so that doing research does not take as much time away from their clinical responsibilities.
We're right in the middle of an integration, and I'm really excited to be able to use the OASI to help us take a look at the two different cultures that are going on and see how we can merge them together, and also to look at the aspirations of where we want to take the company in the future.
Well, now I think we can start using it everywhere from applicants and seeing how they fit with the organization, all the way through, career challenges with employees when they're unsure of where they want to go, but they want to continue with the company, all the way to even what it's actually meant for leadership development. So I see a lot of uses for it.
From my current full-time employment situation, we'll initially take it into our school, behavioral and applied sciences, and make use of that within the administration, the faculty, the staff. And I would love to be able to utilize this on my own through executive coaching, and if opportunities present themselves even at the institution, I would love to do that as well.
This is incredibly important to my practice because I help coach executives, and executives are used to dealing with numbers, and they're used to dealing on the left side of their brain, and this provides them with a picture, kind of a visual snapshot of exactly what's going on, and it's a mirror for them. I mean, that's what I'm like. I mean, that's what my people think about me. But the most important thing is that it's got an ethical dimension, and I've been looking for some instrumentation to use that has an ethical dimension, because a person will often say, well, why should I change? I'm so effective at being powerful. I know the answers. Why should I change? And this helps me develop some answers to those questions.
And I really looking forward to apply it in different areas, because the role that my organization has is quite about bringing effectiveness in the organization through different modes, and leadership is definitely one of those. And we do a lot of collaboration and doing social and other skills. So putting those technical names around it, which are the jargons which people can relate to, and we have history behind it, will really help the organization move forward.
I'm seriously considering including the ASI into the curriculum where I teach, because as I learned here, there are other similar programs doing the same thing, and it's a terrific way to measure do assessments on student learning. So that's one way of implementing it. Of course, now that I'm a certified practitioner, I think the possibilities are really limitless.
It'll be future endeavors. Right now, I am working with a nonprofit, just pro bono. And I'm also working, I hope, I'll know tomorrow, with a head of a small company, entrepreneur, that is looking for a mentor. And I know what his challenges are, so I think this tool will be really great for him to understand how he leads and how his organization thinks he leads, so we can move forward on that. And any future endeavors, I'm hoping to be either project-based, et cetera, and I can see uses for this like amazingly.
I basically teach a couple of courses in our organizational leadership minor, and so I want to use it in my classes, perhaps do some experimentation, quote unquote, on my students, and I could see myself someday maybe becoming somebody that's actually doing consulting. That was not my primary purpose in coming here, but I think it was in the back of my head. But either way, I've learned just so much.